Is your hand open to receive and give, or is it closed for punishment and judgment? Welcome to my channel, Constructive Interference. I am Christina Frost, the Mad Medicine Woman, with good reason. Please check out my story, The Rapture Begins in Detroit, and the comeback story, Sovereignty is Up. We're talking the Libra full moon, April 5th or 6th, depending on where you are, at 16 degrees of Libra. What does it mean? Well, I hope it means an apology from my little ears. Libra's in my third house, which can deal with enemies and my fight with the justice system. What rules my day-to-day activities? The Libra full moon. Everyone says Libra is ruled by Venus, but that's only part of the story because they all just quit reading books, I guess, so everybody just ran away with that. The higher mind of Libra is actually Uranus, and that's why Librans actually care very much about the whole of humanity. And while Saturn begins his exaltation in Libra, restricts and puts rules on this humanity. And Libra has resentment for that. And Libra can create resentment for those that don't abide by rules or that they have to abide by rules at all. And we'll see the influence of Uranus on a Libran chart like Gandhi. The moon in Libra reacts peacefully and over-accommodatingly, seeks to ease the impact of sudden events and dramas, but avoids stagnation and comfort zones. They are adaptable, desire to provide reassurance and stability, fear of falling into the pit of despair, again where Saturn begins his exaltation, but remain open and positive. Hercules captures the Ramanthian bull, who he did not use his bow because he did not want to kill, but with the snare instead. Pholos and Chiron, centaurs, offered a special wine to Hercules, where Hercules had been distracted. And the centaurs, Chiron and Pholos, were actually killed by the other centaurs because they were furious for sharing this special wine with Hercules. Then he had to go finish the task at hand. When we have clarity and courage to move beyond the familiar and do what's necessary, balance is restored and problems are solved. Staying in our comfort zone instead of completing the task, the tendencies toward inaction and distractions that get your friends killed. Or perhaps you lose friends over those kind of decisions. But being distracted, maybe sometimes involving too much with friends. Libra rules the kidneys, overindulging, again, that Venerian idea, or Saturnian, where he begins to exalt, can be overpossessive of material things and wine and indulgences, food even, but particularly what we digest that affects the kidneys. In Gandhi's chart, we see the higher mind of Uranus in his 9th house of Cancer. He is a rising Libra, but that 9th, 10th house cusp in Cancer, which can represent grandfathers or mothers, grandmothers, the father, Cancer, the father of humanity there, teaching us about our emotions. Libra, that's ruled by Uranus there, is exalted in his 9th and 10th house, where his midheaven would be, his spirituality would be, thinking of the whole of humanity. The higher mind of Libra is Uranus, the collective interrelatedness, intuition, urge to better the human condition. And we see that with Librans, that they love humanity, that higher mind of Uranus. Astrologers don't talk about because they just know everything and they stop reading books. The keynote of Libra: I choose the way which leads between the great lines of force. They are to harmonize the opposites and choose the middle path. Transpersonal relationships, not just interpersonal relationships, all relationships. The scales of justice are the kidneys, that harmony that we need to find with others, that we're called to find with others. What does the full moon mean for each of the rising signs? As you should be looking at your rising sign as you discover from an equal house system where that rising sign is. Aries, the Libra full moon will be in your 7th house. Accommodating, supportive, perhaps over anxious. The 7th house having to do with other people in the world, not just interpersonal relationships, but other people in the world as a whole. How does everyone see you? How do you see the world? People who are opposite of you, people that you're looking at. Taurus, this full moon in Libra is in your 6th house, deeply concerned about own and others' health. Gemini, this full moon in Libra is going to be in your 5th house. Entertaining, encouraging, hedonistic. What's hedonistic mean? The doctrine that pleasure or happiness is the highest good, devotion to pleasure as a way of life. The latter Roman emperors were notorious for their hedonism, devotion to pleasure, happiness for the highest good. Cool. Libra there in your 5th house, Gemini, entertaining, encouraging, hedonistic, especially Libra there, maybe really wanting others to find joy as well, and maybe be a beacon of light for other people to have joy. Maybe really enjoying other people, and other people are giving you a lot of pleasure and joy. Interpersonal relationships, children. Cancer in the 4th house. Nurturing, home-loving, find stability vital when the moon is in the 4th house. In Libra, maybe we'll find that nurturing interpersonally with other people, whoever we find in our home, maybe our care for them comes to the forefront with this Libra full moon and being able to provide for them and have stability. Home-loving, maybe just spending more time at home and enjoying the home. Leo, this Libra full moon is in your 3rd house, keen to know, thirsty for information, including gossip. And with our Libra there in our 3rd house, this may have to do with some friends and enemies as well. Gemini can rule friends and enemies as well. Maybe want to find dirt up on other people, doing some research to find out our answers, any answers to any questions that you may have. Virgo, this Libra full moon is in your 2nd house. Fortunate, needs to have, at risk of overdependence. Remember, a strong 2nd house is about entrepreneurship. Do not solely base your feelings or decisions or actions on physical possessions alone, but rather using life's spiritual energies of that 2nd house and receiving that energy back and that consequence back of sharing those spiritual energies. How do you receive that value back? Libra, in your 1st house, this full moon is receptive, reflective, maternal, sometimes defensive. So these relationships that are normally represented by your 7th house, your traditional ruling house, the 7th house, is now bringing your emotions, your feelings to the forefront. The 1st house ruling your first impression on people. So people may really be seeing this maternal defensiveness. You may be coming across quite strong, letting people know that from that 1st house. Maybe people will come to your aid to help you feel better. Maybe you'll experience some kind of mother figure or a grandmother figure or just a woman figure in general that might accommodate or help with that. Scorpio, in your 12th house, the Libra full moon is devoted to institutions, hard to fathom private passions. The 12th house being our inner private life that nobody sees, nobody knows about. Libra on the scales of justice, maybe some of you even have to go deal with the justice system or somebody in the justice system. Could be visiting prisons or some kind of hospital or somebody's well-being that way. Sagittarius in the 11th house. Tolerant, helpful, permissive, needs friends. The 11th house, traditionally ruled by Aquarius, has other people in mind, wants to feel needed or wants to feel useful in the world. or with our other groups that we enjoy, maybe study groups or community groups that we're involved in. Maybe really missing those groups or having to balance some of those relationships in those groups, those interpersonal relationships. Maybe helping a friend in that group, or meeting new friends, or getting to know friends. Maybe you're experiencing someone or people or feminine figures that might want to be helpful and tolerant and permissive and befriend you as well. Capricorn in the 10th house, popular, ambitious, intuitive, seeks recognition. The 10th house being our social status and where we wish to ascend to, what we wish to be known for, how people see us, what people do know us for, what they eventually will know us for, what they should know us for, where our best career fit is for us, what we should be doing in this lifetime. Don't seek recognition right away for these things that we're doing. Just know that it is progressive. It is a fortunate placement for a full moon. That maybe you would get recognition, or at least feel you deserve recognition. You do deserve it. Aquarius, in your 9th house, the Libra full moon is expansively imaginative, supportive, and unrealistic. That 9th house, again, expanding everything, exaggerating everything, making everything bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. That might not always be supportive physically, realistically, but very optimistic, very hopeful. Just don't over exaggerate what you're really physically capable of, so you don't let yourself down, but to push beyond your boundaries the best you can. That Jupiter ruled is very supportive there in the 9th house, where you might support other people. Maybe you wish to help another person. That Libra interpersonal relationship aspect, or a business partnership, or maybe you and someone might be traveling, or you meet someone having to travel and meet a Libra or a feminine figure. Learning, teaching, higher learning, could even be the fruition of a relationship in a teaching environment. Pisces, in the 8th house, the Libra full moon is drawn to thrilling, passionate involvements, may create enemies. They're in the 8th house. That is what can be the death of us sometimes. It could be people or events or tower moments, judgment moments. That's ruled by that Pluto in Scorpio. That Mars in Scorpio, very martial-like. So we can be very passionate. And sometimes if we get hurt, we're just as passionate to really get back at somebody. So let me know where this Libra full moon is for you. Constructively interfered down below. How you are seeing the signs. And give me a like and thumbs up, especially if you tolerate my stuff, and go check out my comeback story. The Rapture begins in Detroit. My story is on YouTube. I so appreciate it. I love the constructive interference. Please. I am definitely not talking to myself. Mad Woman out.